You just got your cage code, so now what do? You ask yourself this question. Do you want to be an expert? Or do you want to be an entrepreneur? What do you want to be? When I first started out, I was an expert. I was the go-to person for diversity and inclusion. I had a subcontract with a prime contractor to provide diversity and inclusion services, which meant everything. Data analysis, speaking, attending events, being part of think tanks, and this was predominantly for the Department of Defense. That led to providing diversity and inclusion services for even a boutique company who helped Fortune 500 companies, because that's what I thought you do. I had this love, had this drive, had this passion, all for diversity and inclusion. So I ran with it. I have a book. It's published behind me. I even received tons of coins issued by the Department of Defense for my work on diversity and inclusion. But thankfully, one day I met with Kevin. He was a small business owner who I came across at an event in Orlando. And he kind of became like my mentor. I was in his office, which I always loved. He was on like the top floor. I had a sign in and I was going down the hall and I looked. And then I noticed all these textbooks. When I reached his office, I said, Kevin, what are all these textbooks for? I thought, aren't you in the IT company? He said, Kizzy, don't worry about it. We're gonna talk about it at lunch. And he proceeded to tell me, he's like, look, what you're doing is great. You're an expert. You're trading your time for money. You're passionate about diversity and inclusion, but you're about here. You're bringing in hundreds and thousands of dollars of money, but you're here. He's like, I am an entrepreneur. He's like, I'm bringing in millions upon millions every year. He's like, those textbooks is for a contract with the Navy where we provide cooking and nutrition classes on submarines and on ships. He's like, we also have training classes for other topics. He's like, additionally, we even staff different positions in military locations. My mind was blown. And he said, you should look into doing the same, because if not, you will be here and you will always be at the mercy of the need for your expertise. As an entrepreneur, you can sell whatever it is you want to sell to the government. So you have to ask yourself the same. Neither is right. Making hundreds of thousands of dollars, it's amazing. It's more than what most people make in the United States. The average income in the United States is like way less than $50,000 a year. So making hundreds of thousands of dollars in an area where you're passionate, why not? But if you also, maybe you want to make more, you can be an entrepreneur. You can sell cooking classes. You can sell weapons. You can sell drum sets. You can provide staffing. I just came across an opportunity where they're looking for facility services, a multi-year, multi-award contract. And the contract value, get this, y'all, is over like $100 million. And it's facility management services for buildings and staffing across the world. The sky is the limit with the federal government. Number 2, what are you now going to sell? And who buys what you are seeking to sell? Here's what's beautiful. Most people would say, and you probably have heard, oh, you got to get a certification. You need all of these different certifications. Small business, service disabled, 8A, woman owned. If you don't have these certifications, you're never, ever, ever going to win a contract. Wrong. All that is wrong. Everyone who's watching, you're already a small business. That already narrows the competition. Of the hundreds of thousands of businesses in Sam.Gov, that narrows it down. So you have to ask yourself, now that you have an idea of what you're going to sell, as far as you want to be an entrepreneur or expert, exactly what is it that you're going to sell? So how you do this is look at current data. Others will say, go to USA Spending or go to some other websites, which is great, but that's showing you what they purchased in the past. Past purchases do not always predict future purchases. The needs of the federal government changes. For instance, the bipartisan infrastructure legislation bill that didn't exist before the current administration. Now there are billions of dollars available for businesses to not only help with infrastructure, but also staffing air traffic control centers. So if you were to look at the spend for the FAA, several years ago, none of this would be on the radar. So here's what you do instead. You go to Sam.Gov, Contract Opportunities, Advanced Search. Notice type. Sources sought, and you're gonna click pre-solicitation. That's all you need to click. A sources sought, sorry y'all, I typed in special notice. A sources sought is very similar to when you need your walls painted. Typically, if you don't do it or friend or family doesn't do it, you will ask for price quotes, right? You don't usually just go with the first painting company. You may go on Yelp or Angie's List and get an idea of what it's going to cost to have your walls painted. Who can provide it for you? Who can do the service? The government is the same. So sources sought, the government's basically saying, look, we're looking for tissue biopsy testing services. We are looking for service maintenance agreement for this chiller. They're letting you know these are things that we are looking to purchase. So therefore, who can actually do this for us or provide it for us? And is there an easy way to get to them? Meaning, are you a small business or have another set aside? So what's great is this gives you an idea, a fast snapshot of what they're looking to purchase. Yeah, there's 24,000 or 26,000 items, but you don't have to go through all of them. And the government's spending well over $500 billion a year. So is putting time into going on Sam.Gov to get a piece of $500 billion worth it, or scrolling on Instagram to find out what's going on with Angela White, formerly known as Black China? Only you know that. The answer to that. So you get an idea of what they're looking for. A pre-solicitation is very similar to a coming attraction, like this movie's coming out this summer. So they're letting you know, hey, very soon we're going to want to purchase stretcher patient transport. So again, this gives you an idea in real time. Here is what they're looking to buy, and here's what they're about to buy, because it gives you time to plan. If you get an opportunity today and it's due in a couple weeks, you have hair on fire. They don't know who you are. They don't know, like, or trust you. They just don't know. So your odds of winning probably low. And it's never about what most people say that government contracting is about, which I'll get to in a minute. So that's why it's really important to know how to find what it is you're looking to sell. And sometimes you need to have data to figure out what it is you're going to sell. This is how you get the data. And also, for those of you that don't like my hand movements, it's okay. I'm not for everybody, but I got a lot of hand movements today. So you see a whole variety of items here. And you can also change this from 25 to 100. Now, it's only sources sought. What you can also do, you can type in the agency. Let's say you have some kind of connection to CIA. You can see, okay, do they have any sources sought? Didn't see any come up. You can type in a particular agency if you want to go that route. And you see sometimes it doesn't yield anything, right? So you got to cast a wider net to find these. You may want to put in a particular location. You're definitely welcome to do that too. I love Hawaii. We have an active contract in Hawaii. I have employees in Hawaii. And look, there's all these opportunities in Hawaii. They're looking for some kind of pager, table and chairs rental. Who knows? This may be of interest. Now, you may have noticed, oh my gosh, Kizzy, the date has passed. Well, guess what? It doesn't matter. You can still follow up with them and say, hey, I recently came across your opportunity for tables and chairs rental. I learned of it after your deadline. I just want to let you know that I'm very interested in this opportunity. Do you have an idea of what your procurement strategy will be? In other words, do they know how they're going to solicit for this? Are they going to set it aside as a small business, woman-owned, 8A? Who knows? Because the beauty of responding to sources sought is you're now telling the government, hey, there are small businesses, including mine, who can do the work. Because if not, the easy button for the government is to work with a large company like Amazon, Boeing, Lockheed Martin, because people know, like, and trust them. And probably most of you watching have heard of these companies before. So it's super important because you're reviewing the sources sought so you can see what's out there as well as the pre-solicitations. You're responding to the sources sought, even if it's after the deadline, because you're showing them, hey, small businesses are out there, we can do it. And then the more an agency gets to know, like, and trust you, the more they're gonna wanna do work with you. Bonus Kizzy strategy is after you respond to the sources sought, within a couple weeks, you then respond and ask to hold a capability brief, which means you will need a capability statement. So please watch my video on that because I have an awesome free gift for you. And if you type free in my Facebook group, you will also get this free gift. And so it's vital that you have that capability. So now you're able to follow up and through a presentation, share with the government, hey, I responded to your need for pagers. Here's my capability. Now I'm able to speak with you on the phone or maybe through Zoom to really dig deep to share with you how I'm able to provide these pagers for you that you're seeking, or lawn service, or tree removal, or staffing, or whatever it is that they are seeking sources for. Super important. Third, what's super important is that you have a mentor. And not just any mentor who posts on TikTok or is sharing with you, hey, you're gonna win all these contracts in 30 days. This is not a 30-day space. You can definitely win a contract in a year or less. The SBA said on average it takes well over a year. By having a mentor and by joining my Facebook group, by taking in all this amazing content, it's gonna speed up your process because this is not a one and done, woo, I'm a millionaire, quick money, I'm gonna do all this middleman and make all this money, woo, making money. It's not gonna happen. And it's not because I'm a negative person, because I'm a super positive person. I'm here to save you heartbreak because government contracting takes time. When I first started out, it was me. I was the one out there doing everything. And then slowly but surely, I hired somebody. Today, we have over 100 people. I foresee that by the end of the year, there's no reason we can't have 300 people on my team because I invested in myself, attending courses, getting a mentor, paying for help, taking advantage of free help. It's very important to learn. Do you need to know the FAR, Federal Acquisition Regulations? No, you don't need to know all of those. Do you have to have a lawyer to go through every one of your contracts? No, you don't need to know all of that. What you need to know and what's super important is you are bidding. No sales equals you don't have a business. You have a hobby and it's called business faking. That's all it is. And I get it. It can feel good, right? And then our friends prop us up like, oh girl, I'm so proud of you. Yeah, boy, I'm so proud of you. Look, you got your cage code and you got a website and you spent 3 months on your logo, and you have to be out there actively bidding. And when I say actively bidding, it's a minimum of 5 a month, a minimum of responding to 5 opportunities a month. That could be sources sought, it could be solicitations, it could be federal, it could be state. It's responding. Here's a bonus strategy because everyone out there, they're going to emphasize, oh, you need a proposal writer. That's how you win proposals. You need the set-asides. That's what they're going to tell you. You need a proposal writer. And the answer is no, you don't. The proposal writers, they're going to take your money. You're not going to win. You must understand what it takes to win the opportunity. What does it take? What are the evaluation criteria? They are listed in practically every single solicitation or combined solicitation that's listed on Sam.gov. They're there. If you're somebody who likes Unison, it's usually under basis of award. And most opportunities on Unison are based on lowest cost. So here's some more of that bonus strategy. Opportunities are based on low risk, medium risk, and high risk. Low risk, meaning the government just needs the thing done. So typically the requirement is lowest price. That's what it is. I was just looking at an opportunity to recycle like 18,000 mattresses a year for 5 years. I mean, how can you really mess that up? So it's based on price. There was an opportunity, one of my students who I coach had bid on for tree trimming. It was based on price. That also occurs with people. I've seen it with nursing. I've seen it with IT. based on price. Then you have mid-level, where now the way that they're going to decide who wins could be based on your experience, certificates that you have, your financials, your experience with that agency. You have people on the team with certain degrees or certifications. There's a little more risk involved in what they want. So then the requirement is greater than price. And then high risk, these are things like, for instance, there's an opportunity with the Navy for 300 y'all. 300 people. Of course, they're going to have more requirements because it's 300 people. And that can be messed up. So once you have your cage code, when you're in this space and you're like, what do I do? Part of selling is understanding how are they going to evaluate your bid and what level risk is there. And it all comes out in how they evaluate it and further understanding what they're asking for, as well as understanding the flags. So join my Facebook group. These are definitely things I talk about. More is to come. GovCon winners, y'all are amazing. Don't forget, everything is possible.